Hi there, I'm recording this on December 12th, 2025, and that means two things. I am preemptively declaring that I have failed at my New Year's resolution, and it is time for the Darkness News Update, a series that talks about the news related to sleep and circadian well-being and conservation and animal welfare and anytime lights are on at night and what that does to the environment. It is also brought to you by the National Association of Innovative Lighting Distributors and their Darkness Restoration 1 program, which I built for them so that lighting distributors could be ready to support better use of light at night. Let's get into the news because we have a study from the University of Bergen that has attested attention and alertness at different times of day under different lighting conditions, specifically generic white-ish SSL light and straight-up blue and red light, still generated from SSL sources, solid-state lighting, LED lighting. And they found that actually both the blue and red had better results in terms of alertness and attentiveness depending on the time of day, which backs up studies from the GSA, the US GSA, finding that you can augment existing lighting behind computers with blue or red lighting depending on the time to improve overall performance just a bit. UV lighting stimulates the production of neuropsin. Neuropsin is a chemical in the brains of mammals that is linked to seasonal rhythms, which means that we can definitely say that the amount of daylight available seasonally does have an effect on us all. We have a new method of coordinated color temperature testing related to melanopsin and rhodopsin content, as well as behavior. This is a new way of tracking cone photoreceptor activation under different lighting conditions that could be used in other studies. That's really it. It's just that we have this study that figured out, hey, these are variable CCT LED bulbs, and this is how we make them work better overall if we're going to keep studying it. We also have a new hormone study of related to light at night. Kyoto University has identified a possible hormonal level intervention in light sensitivity in the clock gene, which is to say that you might be able to take a pill every day forever to compensate for the fact that you work the night shift. Or you could just have a nice cup of tea. This is a new study from the Shanghai University of Medicine and Health Sciences that has given mice tea oils, multiple different types of tea oils, white, black tea, white, black, green, pu'er, oolong, all the major tea types. And there was a very convoluted process, but it turns into like the same equivalent of giving a human 7 grams of loose leaf tea steeped in a cup of water a day. And they found that testing all the varieties, they found that white and black teas can be used to help you recover from jet lag, depending on which direction you're lagging. So if you're jumping ahead, you need white tea. And if you're falling back, you need black tea. And that's cool. Also, I like tea. Tea's nice. We have a new paper from Alexander Williamson pointing out that the circadian stimulus model doesn't really actually account for commercial LEDs because brand to brand, even product to product, they vary too much. And we need to start talking about that much more specifically if we're talking about the well-being of people who live inside. Nighttime link has once again been linked with cardiometabolic disease. This is a study of UK Biobank data that points to links between nighttime light exposure as a factor in cardiometabolic morbidity. Multi-morbidity. Not just one morbidity, all the morbidities. We also see that circadian disruption has been linked with inflammation, neutropenic fever, and symptom burden among multiple myeloma patients. That is a type of cancer that requires stem cell treatment. And those that receive the stem cell therapy may benefit from circadian lighting solutions while being treated. Albedo from snow does affect your circadian rhythm. This is a very small study from Uppsala, Sweden. And albedo is the reflectivity of the surface, so that during the winter, snow makes light bounce back up. And what they found is that actually daytime alertness spiked because you have morning sunlight being amplified to an extra degree because you've got the snow there. But what's really interesting is that it doesn't have the same effect on nighttime sleep quality, possibly because they're in Uppsala, Sweden, and sunset's at like 4 o'clock, and that really evens it out. But there you go. We're also going to move over to the fucking news desk to show that you can't catch up on sleep over one weekend. This is a study that finally checked in with us nighttime chronotypes and found that, yeah, if you're stuck in a job or a school situation, it puts you on the early chronotype 5 days a week, and then you have 2 days off to recover. You can't catch up. It just doesn't work. If you work off rhythm, you're going to be off rhythm forever. And the only reason that's fair, is that all the guys that work the morning chronotypes all got together and voted on how we should live our lives while we were still asleep. Swiss scientists have determined that you sleep better when you are not stressed. Okay, this is actually about building better testing conditions for control groups in sleep studies, but they did a lot of work, a lot of very detailed, well-documented work to figure out that if you stress people out or pump people's expectations, they don't sleep so good. We have a new study of light exposure behavior. They gave light loggers to people in Switzerland and Malaysia at the same time. They took data from an entire month from both countries, and they found that the Swiss, it turned out, got more and better daytime light, and the Malaysians ended up doing more activities at night, and that affected their individual light intake. But Malaysia gets more light overall. So you would think Malaysians would be better circadian and trained, but they don't, because it's cultural. There are cultural factors around how people spend their time getting in light, and that matters more than geography. Seoul and Seville are on the same point of latitude, and they experience entirely different lighting patterns, and that is down to culture. There we go. We have an open letter from astronomy researchers published this week asking the government of Chile to protect the Paranal Observatory. The Paranal Observatory is a system of optical telescopes in Chile, high in the mountains, supposedly very isolated, supposedly super protected, but they're building a hydrogen fuel processing facility down the road, and that's going to be too bright, and it's going to endanger one of the last true great observatories on Earth. And the researchers would really like it if the government of Chile fixed that. It's an ongoing problem, but they're escalating. A different group of astronomy researchers have renewed their objections to low-orbit objects. This is a new paper talking about how low-orbit satellites will actually harm the work being done by telescopes that are also in orbit. By 2030, 90% of all photos taken by the Hubble telescope will have some SpaceX bit of garbage in the frame. SphereX, which is also an orbital satellite, orbital telescope mostly focused on infrared observations, will also have things obstructing it. Also, there are 2 new planned projects, the Chinese Zhunchan orbital observatory and the EU's Arrakis orbital observatory, that will be dealing with even worse problems, because by the time they're up there, there will be 500,000 things in low orbit. We have a new study that confirms that European dung beetles use starlight to navigate. We already knew this was true of African dung beetles, but we've seen that European dung beetles, if in areas where there is not light pollution and they can see the stars, they move in straight lines. But where there is light pollution, they move in wobbly lines. And that's probably bad for the beetles. Probably. Plan B and the University of Salford have launched a new survey on environmental pollution. This aims to bring people's perceptions and people's desires to EU policymakers. In Caprock Canyon, Texas, it is officially a dark sky park. This is a state park recognized by Dark Sky International, and it covers 15,000 acres in North Texas. Dark Sky International has finished their assessment of Wickenburg, Arizona. They'll eventually announce if they pass muster, I guess. That's just a little status update, I guess. The Welsh government have issued a new lighting guidance. This is a new document that helps planners and regulators understand the responsible use of outdoor light at night. Light pollution mitigation has joined the Green Infrastructure Strategy document in Castilla-La Mancha, Spain. This means that the municipality will be beginning new corrective lighting measures. In Warwickshire in the UK, they are pushing back on a planned business park because the warehouses that they're already building there are drawing complaints about their lighting. In Ashford in the UK, there are already objections to lighting at a border facility. This is in Dover, ground transportation route from the EU, and all the shipping and trucking traffic there is adding a lot to the lighting, and they'd really like it if it was better. In Cumbria in the UK, they are adding lighting sensors. This is a new measurement program started by the Stars for All Foundation that puts new trackers that will measure sky glow minute to minute overnight in the interest of collecting data about light pollution, and maybe we can improve on that. In Kelowna, British Columbia, they are debating adding lighting to the Bennett Bridge, mostly because it's going to cost $1 million Canadian, but also people are raising concerns about the wildlife in the area, and, those things can go together. Decorative lighting costs money, and it bothers fish. Teamwork. Pennsylvania has set a new set of data center rules at the state level. Local governments cannot set rules for data centers in terms of noise or light pollution that are more stringent than any other business seeking a zoning variance, which sounds to me like a great excuse to set very stringent light pollution rules for all businesses. Or not, or maybe just the whole state gets bulldozed for data centers. Who knows? In Mason, Michigan, they have passed new lighting rules for data centers as well. That will include lighting standards as well as noise limits. In Ypsilanti, Michigan, there is a brand new lighting bylaw. Any new construction will have to limit uplight glare and trespass, but existing lamps can also be made to follow those same rules if someone complains correctly. In Idaho, this is a callback. This is a callback to the last episode. In Bellevue, Idaho, a car dealership that is already drawing complaints about its bright lighting and how it's spilling into the neighborhood. The owner has responded to those complaints, and he says that he is going to build an 8-foot fence. He's not going to turn off the lights. He's not going to dim the lights. He's not going to change the direction of the lights. He's just going to build a big fence. In Dexter, Michigan, we have updates to lighting ordinances. We have new rules for new construction as well as new zoning variances. In Emerson, Georgia, they have entered their first debate over new lighting rules. The first draft has been read by City Council, and it has been debated with the public overall. In Stallings, Texas, the mayor is considering banning pickleball after dark. This is mostly related to the noise complaints surrounding pickleball, but he does feel like the easiest way to stop those noise complaints is just to not add lighting to any pickleball courts. In Summit, New Jersey, they have set new baseball field lighting rules. They will be requiring timing on all baseball fields run by the municipality and schools in the district, but also they will be setting requirements for different light levels. So if you're running a practice, you cannot be nearly as bright as an actual game. In Florida, the town of Satellite Beach has ordered a nativity scene to be shut down. This is a project that lit an entire house, as well as the cars in the driveway, with projectors that in a scene that I actually kind of like. I'm going to say it's an interesting take on like Baroque era stained glass with a bit of neon aesthetic as well. I really I actually like how this looks. I'm not a Christian, but I like what they captured here. But the problem is that in Satellite Beach, Florida, you can't have temporary lighting at all. And if you want permanent lighting, it has to be a sign that's well shielded. You can't use a projector. And the owners of this house have complied, but they are lobbying for some sort of change in the rules for temporary lighting. Maybe they get to turn it back on, but that might be a year. I'm just saying. It's a cool project, and it's Christmas, and, we can make some exceptions. There's some cap and trade we can do for lighting, and we don't have to be buzzkills. We don't have to be buzzkills all the time. I think this looks cool, and I hope they can find something that makes sense, even if it's only on for an hour or two at night. We have a brand new Dark Sky International chapter. They cut the ribbon on a new office in Salida, California. They are up and running. They are pushing for better lighting in that county. The U.S. Customs and Border Patrol have waived all environmental rules on a border jaguar habitat, which is to say that any protections the jaguars need because they move across the border and they would like to not have, they probably would not benefit from a bunch of fencing and lighting on the U.S.-Mexico border in that area. They're gone. They're gone. People pushed for it. They tried to carve out an exception. They tried to carve out some sort of reasonable wildlife corridor. There are a lot of options you can build to let wildlife pass through hard infrastructure, but none of that's going to happen. It's just going to be, the border will continue to be lit like a prison, and I guess the jaguars are the prisoners. In Exmoor in the UK, they have named the winners of the Dark Skies Children's Competition. This is a contest for middle schoolers to draw a cool mascot for light pollution mitigation. And I don't know, they drew some cool things. A couple of middle schoolers got some free telescopes for drawing a cool thing. It's nice. It's nice. It's a feel good. And I will be back in 2 weeks. I hope you can continue feeling good until then. So I want to thank the National Association of Innovative Lighting Distributors. I also want to thank them for letting me build Darkness Restoration 1. And I hope that maybe you consider a direct donation to this series, or just a rating or a review. I've been Scott Wachter. Thank you for your time, your attention. I'll see you when I see you. Take care of yourself.